What is up? Today I want to tell you a quick story about Tim and Mark. And Tim and Mark, they grew up in the same town. And I'm going to tell you what Tim did. When Tim was a young adult, he went to his local government office. And I'm not going to share which government office yet. But he went to his local government office and he purchased a piece of paper, okay? And I'll explain this in a moment. So he purchased this piece of paper when he was, we'll just say that he was 22. And he purchased this piece of paper that had his name on it. And he put some words on this piece of paper. He went around and he asked different people if he could borrow some money. And then some people gave him some money, and he also went to a bank and borrowed, let's just say that he borrowed $1,000. Let's say that he borrowed a total of $1,000 from people that he knew, even people he didn't really know. He just asked people, and he told him that he could pay the money back with some interest, okay? Alright, so that was Tim. So Mark grew up around his family, and he grew up, and when he was 22, he had just got out of college. And he's a pretty smart kid. He went to college, and so he graduated, pretty decent in his college, with pretty decent records. Okay, and his family praised him for his degree that he got from graduating college. So he went and online, and he went and applied for whatever jobs that he could apply for, okay, to make some money, to live his dreams, So then, bear with me here. Meanwhile, Tim took the money that he borrowed, and he purchased that piece of paper with the government. He didn't purchase it, but it cost a fee to get the piece of paper. Okay, then the rest of the money he took and he bought some paint with it. Okay, he bought some paint, and he was able to take this paint, and it was automotive paint. Okay, and along with it he bought some sandpaper and some other supplies, and he went to a few different body shops, and he started to sell this paint to these people, okay? And next thing you know, he did it enough times that he got that $2,000 back, and he paid it back to the people, and then he walked away with $1,000 after selling all the paint that he bought, right? So meanwhile, Mark, he just got accepted at a job. They gave him an interview, and they hired him, and they told him, you've got the job, and for a year he worked at this job, and he was making really good money. He'd wake up every day at 6 o'clock in the morning, get ready for work, put his outfit on, brush his teeth, put his towel on. Of course, it sucked having to drive through traffic every day, but for about an hour, it became routine. And then he got tired of it. He got really tired of getting up every day. He didn't really like what he was doing, but he'd been told, just stick with it. Everything's going to be good, because with this money that you get, you're going to be able to buy you a house. Look at your car payment. You got a cool car. I mean, you don't, and so you know you're doing well for yourself. So don't give up now. Don't give up on your dream. And so he gets off of work every day. It takes him about an hour and a half, and sometimes even 2 hours, depending on the traffic. He comes home, he eats his dinner. Well, usually he doesn't have time to cook dinner, so he goes and grabs it from somewhere to make it easy. And he gets done eating while he's watching his favorite TV show, and then before you know it, it's like 9 o'clock. It's time to hit the sack so he can get rested up for the job. And then every Saturday he catches up on all of his chores and stuff and gets stuff done, and then he might go out with some friends on Saturday night or see his family, and then a few hours Monday doing a little something extracurricular. Oh yeah, he gets to drive around in his car for a few hours on Sunday, and but then it's time to get ready for work Sunday evening again. So meanwhile, Tim, he is taking that $1,000 and he bought some more paint with it, and those other body shops, they called him back and they bought more paint from him, and so he took the $1,000 and he turned it into $2,000, and he went out to more paint shops, body shops, where they work on cars and stuff, and he sold them sandpaper and paint, and he turned it into $3,000. And for that whole year, he kept doing this over and over and over again. And he kept selling them this paint, and he would keep buying it back, and then they'd keep buying it back. I mean, he'd keep buying more paint and then reselling it, and he kept building up more and more, and he kept going to these different body shops. Well, before you know it, next thing you know, he's putting a few $1,000s a month in his pocket, in his bank account, after he sold everything, after he did these sales to these paint shops, and he was able to put $3,000 at the end of the year, going on into the next year. He was able to put $3,000 personally into his bank account for him at the end of the day. And so meanwhile, Mark is still being told to stick with his job, because it's for a brighter future. And now it's starting to become a routine, 6 a.m. and drive through traffic, do this job. He sits at his desk and he does the job, and then drives maybe a couple hours every night, coming home, eats. Basically the same routine, but it's starting to kind of starting to feel a little different now. He's starting to feel a little different. So now he's thinking, well, maybe I just really do need a new job, because this is time consuming. It's consuming up my day. So maybe I need to just, do something else. Well, by this time, Tim, who's selling the paint, he needs some help, okay? So what does he do is he starts, by this time he's got a couple people helping him. And that paper that he filled out was called a LLC, a corporation paper. So basically that means that he's in business, right? At this point, he can get somebody else to do his job, so that he can go do more things that he wants, and maybe start another business. He wakes up every day and does what he wants when he wants. So what does he do? He gets an application from this guy named Mark, and Mark comes and works for him, and then Mark ends up repeating the very same process that he did all over and over again, except this time he's working for Tim's company, and he's just right back in the same cycle, while Tim gets to live free and do what he wants when he wants. Go to lazyAssLoser.com, and I'm going to help you get on the path to becoming a free man.